Hi everyone, my name is Alicia. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back and thank you for supporting my channel. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about Bible versions. So I'm also going to hopefully be working on some devotionals as well. I hope you guys will enjoy those. But I thought I would go over some of the translations of the Bible. Some people, I think, not really sure, which one should I get, what are the differences, and that kind of stuff. So I thought I would just do kind of a rundown of some of the more popular ones. So they have 3 different schools of thought for these, and the first one is like a literal translation. So these are like word for word translations that are the most accurate, okay? And some of the examples of those are the King James Version, the New King James Version, the New American Standard Bible, and then also the English Standard Version. If you've ever seen like the King James Version, you'll have like a lot of thous and these and stuff like that. So that's a little bit more of an accurate description. Now they also have a thought to thought. So this remains close to the original, but with more modern language. So one of my favorite versions is the NLT, which is the New Living Translation, and that falls into this category. Also, you can get the Holman Christian Standard Version, the Christian Standard Bible, the NIV, which is super popular by many people, New International Version. You have your Contemporary English Version, also falls in this category. Now, there's lots of other versions. I'm just giving you some, okay? So there's lots of other ones, lots and lots of other ones, but I'm just giving you some of the more popular ones. Now, the paraphrasing or loose translations, I don't particularly care for those. They're kind of more almost in like a story format. I do have the Message Bible is one of them, and I do have one of those, but I just don't really care for it because, first of all, some of the way that they put it together, they don't really have all of the verse numbers like in the right place because it's hard to do because you're paraphrasing something. And I feel like it's too far from the original, like it's not really translation, like the translation is not really close enough, let's say, to the original for me. But if you like it that way, you could look at the Message or the Living Bible. Okay, so the King James Version is still one of the most popular versions of the Bible, having been the standard Bible of the English-speaking world for around 300 years. So that dates back to 1611. So that is like pretty amazing. The NIV version, and again, I'm just giving you a couple of these, that is super popular. I've seen a lot of people, most people have an NIV Bible. New International Version, it was not a revision of any previous translations, but a new translation done by an international group of over 100 scholars. And they sought to create a version midway between a literal word-for-word translation and a free paraphrase translation. And that came out in 1979. Now, the New King James Version came out in 1982. And that was 119 scholars to work on that revision, and it replaced the archaic English words and phrases with the modern equivalent of those words. So like I was saying, the thous and whatever, so they made it a little bit more modern, and that was 1982. Now, Contemporary English Version, that was 1991, and it says it's a free translation that aims to read with natural, uncomplicated English. So that's another one, CEV, that, some people have, but I really think other than King James, the NIV is probably one of the most popular. And then the New Living Translation, which is what I prefer. I have a couple of Bibles here to kind of show you, but I do prefer this one. And it says it's a translation of entire thoughts, not words, into modern English. Originally starting out as an effort to revise the Living Bible, the project evolved into a new English translation from Hebrew and Greek texts. So it says the second and third editions, 2004 and 2007. March 2014, the Christian Booksellers Association ranked the NLT as the second most popular English version of the Bible based on sales. So that was back in 2014. I also have a couple of translation comparisons just to give you an idea of what it would sound like in the different versions, all right? So Proverbs 18:24, this is the King James Version. A man that hath friends must shew himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. Okay, so you can see how that's kind of like a little bit, you know, more kind of older kind of speak, not as modern, right? So then you have the ESV. A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Okay, so a little bit more modern, right? You have the NIV. A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. And the NLT, which is the one that I prefer, there are friends who destroy each other, but a real friend sticks closer than a brother. So you can see how it's kind of getting like more modern as you're going through the versions. Now the Message, which I said is very paraphrased, right? This one says, friends come and friends go, but a true friend sticks by you like family. So it gets the point across, but it's pretty different from the King James, right? And that's why I just don't prefer that. I really like the NLT, which is probably closer to the paraphrasing than the King James, which is closer to the original translation, but that's what I prefer. So there are many of these different types of, if you went on and Googled, you can certainly Google the different translations and how they compare, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys an example of that. Now there's a couple of resources that you can go to if you don't want to use a Bible, you know, an actual physical Bible. And there's plenty of resources online, and I'll list a couple of these below. These are just a few that I've used or found. So Youversion App is one that you can use on your phone, but you can also go to Bibl.com. I use the Youversion app all the time. You can read, they have different plans on there. You could just read the Bible, whatever you want to do, but they have a lot of different good things on there. BibleGateway.com is another one, and BibleHub.com is another one. So I'm very fond of Youversion, but there's so many out there, you know, if you're interested, take a look and see. All right, so most of my Bibles are study Bibles, so I prefer the study Bibles. So this is I have it actually in a case. This is my case that I have it in. It's a Footprints case. But most of my Bibles, like I said, are study Bibles. And just to give you an idea, this is the NLT. So it is kind of small print. And the thing that I like about the study Bibles is at the bottom of the page, there's usually an explanation on some of the verses that are up above. So, for example, this one I just happened to turn to. I'm in Leviticus, and it talks about 10:10:2, and this talks about spiritual warfare. So you can read the verse in 10:2, and then you can come down here and it'll give you a little bit of an explanation of what is being said up above. Now, every single line is not going to have a translation or a study part on the bottom. They just do, I don't know how they pick them, but they don't do every single line. It's not like a line by line, at least not in this book. All right. But this again is the NLT, and a lot of them have different things that you can get, which like this one has a concordance in it. So if you go in the back, all right, it's got a concordance. What is a concordance? So it's basically by subject. So I can come back here and look at the word anger. And it's going to list me, it's got about 15 different ones in here. Exodus 34:6, slow to anger, that kind of stuff. And it tells you where you can find the word anger. So these are really good. I mean, most Bibles have this. I haven't seen one that doesn't. But these are really great if you're trying to look up, you know, a specific topic or whatever that you want to research. So they do have that. Usually they'll have like a helps section as well. Sometimes they'll have maps. This one has a help section with a response to God's articles. And I don't know if this one, I don't think, yeah, this one does have a couple of maps in the back. I don't really use maps too much, but they do have some maps in the back as well. So, like I said, I just really love the NLT version, the translation. So, now recently I picked up this Encourage Devotional Bible. So, this is a Christian Standard Bible, and I saw that Candace, I don't know if you guys know Candace Cameron Bure, I'm sure you do, but she has a Bible that she came out with, which is, I believe it's the same, I believe it's the CSB, and so I was going to pick up hers, but it was like, you know, pretty pricey, so I ended up picking up this one. And again, this one has some different things in it. It's got a table of contents. It tells you how to read the Bible. It's got a devotional theme guide. The writing is a little bit bigger in this one. A little bit larger than the other one. This one has some lines at the bottom where you can actually take some notes and write different things and reflect on it. Okay, and this one, because it is Encourage, it's a devotional Bible. So throughout here they have some different things, like this one says give thanks for storms. So they have some like devotions throughout here that you can do. In the back they do have an index, and they have some sort of, it's like a topic index. It's kind of like a concordance. It's set up a little bit differently, where it just kind of says Holy Spirit, and then it gives a couple across the row instead of like down like the other one. I do not see any maps in this one, but the difference in this one is that it has devotionals, and it also has room for you to write if you want to write in the Bible as you're like studying and going along. So that's a really nice one to have as well. I'll list these down below if I can find them. I know this Encourage one I can find. I'm not sure about these other ones, if they're in like Amazon or wherever. Some of these I've had for quite a while. All right, the next one is a Quest Study Bible. And this is NIV. And the cover's really pretty. I have a lot of different Bibles. So the Quest Study Bible is a little bit different. This one has questions on the side. So for example, I'm in Deuteronomy. It says, didn't the Israelites already know the 10 Commandments? And then it kind of goes through an answer. So this is really nice if you're doing like a Bible study or something where, like, let's say you have a group and you're studying through the Bible and you're in, let's say, 1 Kings, and you want to do something like that, and you're reading through, you know, the first verses of those. It can give you some ideas of what you could ask, you know, and how you could like study. So this one's a little bit different in that way. And as you can see, I always tab mine because I can never remember. I have like a basic idea of where things are, but sometimes it's really hard to find, especially how thick some of these are. This has index to subjects, so same as the other one, which is basically concordance. And in the back, they've got some different themes as well that you can look up. They've got some maps in the back as well. So this one is pretty cool. As far as a study Bible, I love how it has, you can just see all the blue pages as I'm turning through there, and that's all questions and different things. And they all have the answers. So it's a great way just for you to even study the Bible, right? So that's another great one that I really like. Now, this is also an NIV, but this is Women of Faith, and this is my Women of Faith study Bible. So I don't know if they're even doing the Women of Faith conferences anymore, but I used to go years ago. Obviously last year nothing was happening, but I think they had stopped because they didn't have enough participation in it, but I used to love it. I did. And so I had picked up this Bible. And so in here, it's not really a study Bible, but you can kind of see in the beginning, like this is Exodus. And in the beginning of that, they give you a little blurb about it, talking about the book of Exodus. And you know, they just kind of give you some history on it. They talk about the women of Exodus right here. So this has more of a highlight on women throughout. And they just give you some, as you go along, like Judges talks about the cycle of sin and salvation. And then like on the side, they'll give you some blurbs here, worshiping false gods. And then they talk about that. Let's see what's in the back. So they also have the concordance or the subject-based information. And they also have the maps that are in there as well. I think this one's really nice because it's more for like women. And so if you really want something that kind of pulls that out, this is a great one to get. And again, this is NIV as well. Now I have one more to show you guys, to share with you. I have more Bibles than this. Honestly, I'm kind of a Bible hoarder, honestly. But this one's a really cute one. I think I might have gotten this on Amazon. I'm not sure. But this is an NIV study Bible, and this is by Zondervan. Very, very popular in the Bible world. In the beginning of this one, they give you kind of like a timeline. They talk about ancient texts, give you like a chronology. And then this is kind of what it looks like. It's got a lot of color in it, which I really like. And again, this is a study Bible. So you can see here's all of the verses here. And on the bottom, that's where you're going to see all of your study material. And we talked about that earlier. And this one is a little bit smaller print, but it is pretty thick. And I like that it gives you kind of chronologies and things like that. And also, like, this is John, for example, that I just showed you. This is an introduction to John, and over here on this side, it actually gives you the outline. So it talks about the Word became flesh, then the beginning of Jesus' ministry. So that's really cool because you can go into any of the books and kind of see what are they about. They give you a little bit of a explanation. This is the beginning of John, with some pictures and things that talk about it. And they also give you some other, throughout, well, I'm in John, but throughout, they'll give you other information like this is Jesus's miracles. So if you want to know what miracles he performed, it gives you the verses and where you can find them and what they were. So I think this is a really great Bible for studying, like I said, either by yourself or with a group. And then same thing in the back, you can look it up by subject. And this has maps even throughout the Bible as well. And I believe there's some in the back as well. Yep. So you have some in the back as well. So I think, again, this is another great one. You can get these little tabs, really, Amazon, other places, if you have a Bible bookstore. We used to have a local Bible bookstore here. It was called Hackman's, and unfortunately they went out of business a couple years ago. I really miss it because there's some things you just like to go and look at. And, you know, not that I don't love ordering online. I'm an Amazon freak, you could say. But there's some things that you just want to kind of hold. And I loved going in there, but unfortunately they're gone. So I haven't been to an actual, you know, store, Bible store. But you could do that. Go if you have one locally, or, you know, like I said, research it online. I'll leave all of these if I can find them. At least I'll leave the names of them if I can't find a link. So in case you're interested in below. But anyway, I hope that this helped you guys. I hope that you liked the video. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I want to get into doing some more devotionals, and I'm really thinking about doing some meditation as well. Let me know your thoughts on it. I appreciate you guys spending the time with me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe.